Okay, so here we go with Devil's Groove. This is a very bluesy sounding piece, and lots of really cool pentatonic and flat fifth ideas, which I'll explain. So basically, this makes use a lot of the time of the E pentatonic scale with the addition of the flat fifth, which would then turn it into the blues scale. So we're beginning with the D and the E note. The D functions as the lead into the root note with a flatted fifth. We're basically just descending from the flatted fifth downward. So those four key notes: root note E, G, A, B flat. We have the D note here. And this comes up a lot in my own style, but you'll also hear it in a lot of stoner rock and doom bands that sort of lean towards the bluesier side of things. In the second bar here, then we slide up into the octave root note, which is at the 12th fret on the E string. And in this case, then we make use of the G note at the 10th fret on the A string with that at the end. So it's like... So again, we're using those pentatonic notes. In this case, up in the 10th position. So we have the E, D, G, and you can even use the A note there when you sort of come up with your own stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to play the first two bars. Remember to get out the transcription while you're doing this. It makes it a lot easier. Here it is slower. We'll do that one more time. And from here on in, it's really just a lot of variations with similar notes. So in the third and fourth bar there, we're using the E note here with a little 10 to 12 thing. It's like a quick pick and hammer on pull off with the flatted fifth. All you've really got to be careful in that part and throughout this is to let the notes breathe when required. So there is a temptation within our brain to sort of want to go just gung-ho at it and hit every note as fast as we can, so you just need to let that space prevail. Interestingly enough, music, as in all good art, sometimes the space is what actually makes the piece. Okay, so from there it's pretty chock full in the fourth bar. So it's really more like a lick, isn't it, in the lower octaves basically, and that's what I was talking about before with these pentatonic notes. So in this case we have the D note, the E, the G, and the A, which is actually bent up to the pitch of B towards the end. And all this again is in the E pentatonic scale. But we're outside of it, and that's a really important key in this style of music, is that a lot of the time we can start on that, it's basically the minor seventh interval, so we're going from the, in this case, the D into the root. But you hear that crop up a lot in blues-based rock, hard rock, stoner rock, doom metal and stuff. So let's play that bar. And continuing on from this, again, similar ideas with our E root note. We're just varying that, descending. And we're going to start here in the next bar, bar 6, with an open E power chord. And this time, instead of using the four notes that we looked at before, these four, we're going to use those in the 5th position. And we're going to slide back into the 7th position there. So in the 6th bar it'll sound like this. What's interesting here is leading into the 7th bar is that I'm kind of overlapping things because I'm going again from that minor 7th interval into the root, this time on the G string. So note there that we've done that in a few different spots, D to E. And it's important to pay attention to these things when you're learning the riffs, because you're not just going to learn the riff then, you're actually going to learn what's underneath it. So okay, bar 7. So that kind of mixes things up a bit, pretty high here. And we're going to start in the 8th bar with the A note. And we're going to use an interesting idea here. This could basically be called G major pentatonic since we're starting on the G note instead of the E note. So we get... if you play the E minor pentatonic starting on the G note in this case, you get a G major pentatonic instead. Made famous, I guess, by guitarists such as Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Angus Young. So I'm just going to play these 2 bars. That'll be bars 7 and 8. Okay, a bit of a theme occurring here from the last piece we did, Born in Blood. So we kind of started off melodically with single notes and then we got into power chords. Well, we're doing the same now with the Devil's Groove. So we're going to start with our low E in the 9th bar and do this. And just note here too that all these power chords are based off the pentatonic or blues scale tones, you know, so you got the E, the octave E, D, B flat, A, G, you know, so all the scale tones in your scales can actually be made into power chords, and thereby you can use your power chords then as like a melodic tool. And carrying on to the next bar, we're back to the root note before back into the 7th position. So we're just kind of adding a bit of variety to things. So bars 9 and 10. And I think in the 11th bar it's pretty much the same as bar 9. What we're going to do is a bit of a more of a brutal sounding thing in the 12th bar. So we carry the G over into that bar with the E and the B flat power chord. And we're going to do an 8th note triplet idea starting on the A power chord, and this is what it's going to look like. That's just a nice way of getting into the next bit again. So here's bars 11 and 12. Into bar 13 then, more similar ideas here. The only difference there is we're really just letting things breathe a bit more. I've got this cool idea in the 14th bar. It's got a nifty little thing from the A into the B flat, like a fast strum slide thing. So speed it up a bit. So it may take a bit of getting used to. So it's a good technique focus for the novice there, because you have to hold the power chord shape. Bands like Mastodon do this a lot. I'm a big fan of that band, and yeah, they do a lot of that there in their riffs. So. So you notice after that we're sort of returning to that breathing type idea after the... And to finish things off, I included this nifty bit. We're going to use some scale tones in the first position with a pretty typical Phrygian minor second type thing. So we go from the E to the F. Remember, that's the minor second interval because we've got the root to the F, minor second from root, semitone higher, and that's what that is. And finishing with... Now if you look carefully at that, that is the E Phrygian scale. There's the last two bars.